Hey everybody, this is Jose Blasco. How are you, my friends? I was having a little problem to activate the stream. Not sure why, but that's it. We are connected now and everything should be okay. Can I have a quick message on the chat box as a confirmation that sound is okay? That would be great. If you could just say hello on the chat box so I know all is working well and we are ready to get started. That would be great. In the meantime, I will go ahead and display the disclaimer on the upper left side of the screen. So please read it carefully because this is obviously important information, even though the markets today are closed, apart from the cryptocurrency markets, and we cannot trade live. The reality is that what we are learning today is to be applied during the trading days, and of course, there is always risk involved. How are you, Joe? How are you, Ahmed? Siderman? Very good to see you, everybody. Ahmed, all good? You know what I mean? Platform running well, everything is working fine. It'd be great to hear. Very good, everybody. So let's get started. This is October 3, 2021. My name is Jose Blasco. This is a top session. So today we're going to be talking about top and diving deeper into the platform. And of course, while we talk about the platform and trading technology, we cannot really separate trading technology from trading. So then we're going to have a little bit of a mix when it comes to lecture, where again, we're going to have top platform time, but we'll also have top trading lectures and then of course questions and answers and more. I mean, these sessions are top sessions, and the plan is to make them to be top. Okay, so we're going to be talking about all of those things and more, even though we'll start from the basics. Today is the very first time ever that we are running a top session, so we're going to start from the basics. We're going to be focusing on the platform the most, and the structure I would like to use in the session really is to spend around, let's say, 45 minutes going over top and functionalities and things like that, and then maybe leave the latest part in the session for you guys to ask your questions. Okay, and those questions could be anything. Even though we also have sharpening sessions for trading questions in it. Normally Becky is running those, but certainly more than happy as well for me to take a look at your questions if you have any question related to both top or trading. Okay, so go ahead and be ready to participate, and we're gonna have fun in these Sunday sessions. You'll see. Maka, it's good to see you as well. Yeah, I hear your messages confirming the sound is good, so this is fantastic. So let's begin. Okay. So anyway, so here is top. Okay, and of course this is nothing new. But again, the idea today, the idea on the Sunday sessions, the top sessions that we are running, it's to really fully understand the power of the platform. And while on the live trading sessions, I go, I use specific tools in a specific way on purpose, because it's part of, if you wish, a trading methodology or a trading approach. And I'm just looking at specific type of opportunities, etc., etc. The reality is that top offers much more than what we demonstrate during the live trading sessions. Top is actually a platform that could serve a collection of different type of traders trading the markets in different ways, and then add options features to whatever trading style to make trading even better, isn't it? So again, in the top sessions, of course, we'll talk about the very specific approaches that I myself personally utilize when trading, that I discuss with you in the live trading sessions. But we'll also talk about features that we may not use often or we may not use at all. And I will be presenting all those features to you as well. So they are there, you know how they work. And I'm pretty positive that there are features that I may not use in the live trading sessions that, depending on your trading style, they may be very convenient for you. How are you, Fernando? Good to see you, my friend. So you will see that, and the idea is to learn about everything that the technology offers, because not only we are all different when it comes to trading. On top of that, it's not the same to be trading short term, that long term, or intermediate, etc., etc. And the sessions that I run when we do live trading are, if I was to call it something, I would say it's semi-active type of trading. So it's active, but not that active, because our trades last for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks sometimes. So it's active, but not that active. It's active on the management side, if you wish, but the duration of the trades is quite relaxed. So some of you may want to be way more active. So I'll show you tools to do that. Some of you may want to be way more passive. I'll show you tools to do that and so on. Okay, so again, this serves a little bit as an introduction. So what I just said when it comes to understanding what I am planning to show you, and why there will be times where I'm discussing features that I may not use, but they are there and they may serve you. So I plan to discuss and show you every single angle of the platform, so you are 100% knowledgeable on the use of the technology. And of course, we cannot separate technology from trading. So then we'll bring in a lot of trading concepts and trading, lecture time as well, kind of like embedded in learning how the platform works. And then, as I said, one last time, at the end of the session, we'll have like open Q&A, so you guys can ask questions of all sorts. Okay, so the one thing I like to ask you guys, as always, is to not to be shy, to be participative, and make sure that you ask all of those questions, okay, so you can get your answers. And also, by the way, I understand that Sunday is a very convenient day for many, but also a not convenient day at all for others. So another thing you can do as well is send your trading questions or your questions about the platform during the weekdays, and then I will be taking care of those questions during the Sunday sessions, and then you can go ahead and watch the recordings at your own pace, and you get the answers in the session, which is way better than some sort of an email, because it's how far we can go with an email when our support team is answering your questions. There is a limitation on how much we can type, and even if we were to type everything, is still a written text compared to being able to demonstrate on a live session. Okay, so please participate. Okay, this is what I'm basically requesting from you guys, if it's okay, so those sessions can be more powerful and more helpful. Okay, so where are we going to start? Okay, well, I believe that all of you should be familiar, and if you're not, this is critical. Everybody should be familiar that there is a help menu in top that gives you multiple choices, but within help you also have help, or you can just press F1, right? And when you click on that, okay, what this will do is it will bring in a web page that looks like that, which basically this is the user guide of top. Okay, so this is built in our website, and this is of course a section which is always being enhanced. One of the reasons is because we keep adding functionality to the platform, so we for sure need to keep working on that help menu to adapt it to whatever features we have on the platform. And between us, in a perfect world, the documentation will go exactly at the same pace as the developments, but at the same time, my philosophy is to be pragmatic. So as we are developing tools for top, we are just going ahead and releasing those features sometimes before the features are documented on the user guide. Okay, so again, we can choose the other route, which is do not release features until it's documented, but at the same time, I think that many of the features are quite intuitive, and we serve better by giving priority to the functionality instead of the documentation. Okay, even though again, in a perfect world, they will go hand in hand. So in other words, this documentation is quite complete, but at the same time, there may be times where you are looking at top, right? And you are looking at something in the platform, and then you look at the documentation, and maybe the screenshot is not exactly the same, or on your computer it looks a little different. And when would that happen? Well, it's when we have released some sort of functionality that we have not documented yet. Okay, so be ready, because this may happen from time to time. It should not happen too often, but sometimes you may see divergences between the user guide and the real top. Okay, so keep that in mind. In any case, this help menu is extremely powerful, and in these sessions, okay, at least in this initial phase of running top sessions, I plan to use the help menu a little bit as a guide to guide me into explaining the various features and the various functionalities built in the platform. Having said that, every time I get to a functionality, unless it's really basic, I will enhance what is written on the user guide by going over examples, going over additional explanations, answering the questions you may have concerning that functionality. So again, we're gonna go way beyond this user guide, but I'm gonna use it as a guide. And certainly, whenever you have questions and you're on your own, you could certainly email us for sure. But I would suggest check at the user guide first, because odds are that you may get the answers you need in here. Okay. So how many of you, by the way, have used already the help menu? I'd be curious to know how many of you already have used the help menu, and how did it work for you when you used it? Was it too complicated? Was it too simplistic? Because we are trying to find this middle ground where it's complete enough, but it's not like you need to read an encyclopedia every time you get to a section. So we try to keep it quite simple. So I'd love to get your feedback on how it's working for you at this moment. Okay. Ahmed, waiting for the new option scan. Yes, I mean, I have it already running on my end. We're just in those final stages of testing, but I believe we're gonna release that really, really soon because it's just working fine. So it's a matter of just an additional extra testing, but that will be it. Okay, Ahmed, you're talking about the one with a volume map, correct? I believe so. Fernando, you have. Joe, you have. Ahmed, you have. Ahmed was simple. Siderman, you have studied all of them. Well, wonderful. I kept you busy. I kept you busy, Siderman. A bit too simple, Fernando. Got you. Got you. Yeah, it's sometimes it's difficult to find that balance. Okay, but anyway, we will take all of this to the next level as we go over these sessions. Okay. Okay. So talking about simple, and Joe, you got lost at a certain point. Okay. So I am guessing then that some sections are too simple and some sections may need reinforcement. Good. So guys, please feel free to interact with me during the sessions, okay? And not only to phrase your needs, but also as we go over sections. Let's say, for example, you told me, look, I was looking at this myself and I got lost. And now that you explain, now finally I understand. But when I did it by myself, I got lost, or vice versa, right? So feel free to comment, lack some context. Got you. Understood, Joe. So again, I'll certainly be listening to you guys, and we'll be working on improvements. Okay. Again, know that our priority is the platform, the software, the functionality, but certainly we will work in parallel with the documentation. Okay. Good. So let's begin with talking about basic. Let's begin with the most basic of the basics, which is the concept of pages in the platform. And this is probably going to be the most boring explanation, if I could use that term, of all the concepts that we're gonna go over as we do the top sessions. But at the same time, not understanding the concept of a page on top, not utilizing it well, could lead to data loss or not being efficient with the use of the platform. And therefore, I think that it's indeed worth it that we spend a little bit of time talking about what's a page, how to use it, and so on. And also, the other reason why this is quite important is because many of the traders in our community, obviously because we also have our AutoUFOs app on TradeStation, so many of you may have used TradeStation before, and you are used to the concepts of TradeStation when it comes to organizing the platform, where they use two terms. One term is the TradeStation desktops, and the other term is the TradeStation workspaces. And it's kind of easy to, if I was not to explain it, maybe you would be thinking of the pages like it's like a workspace on TradeStation. And that would not be too far from reality, but at the same time, there are major differences between pages on top versus workspaces or desktops in TradeStation or other platforms that also have features on how to save the layout. Okay, so let's talk about this. And again, in these sessions on the Sundays as well, you will realize that I'm not going to be in a rush to go over things because this is for you to fully understand. Okay, so let me take a look at your comments. You have been playing with top while studying the topics. Very nice. And Fernando says the page equals TradeStation workspaces. Not exactly. Actually, there are major differences. Okay, and that was exactly my point. So Fernando, let's talk about it because you will actually appreciate this explanation. It's going to make your life easier. Let's face it. So again, so with TradeStation, okay, and I'll start. If you're not a TradeStation user, so just allow me a few moments to talk about this, and ignore me for a few moments. But with TradeStation, you have desktops and workspaces, and actually you also have windows. So the windows, which could be a chart, lives inside of the workspace. And the workspaces, that could be multiple workspaces, they live inside of desktops. And typically, you would position each desktop in a different monitor. So then you can have, all your visuals wherever you want them. And, it's one way on how to organize, everything you need to use when you trade, and position it, especially when you have multiple monitors. Now, in TradeStation, and again, I'm talking about TradeStation, and to be honest, this applies to the majority of the platforms. In TradeStation, almost everything lives within the platform. Okay, so if you look at any software in Windows, okay, and this applies to top as well. So you have this upper bar, right? It's called the title bar, right? And here on the right, you got the minimize, the restore down, and the close button. So all of this thing, it's a window. You can actually, instead of maximizing it, you could restore it down, right? That's a window, and then you can maximize it. So if you open a desktop on TradeStation, you got that, and everything lives inside of it, and nothing can get out of it. So if you want to push something in another monitor, so you need that additional desktop application to be able to push it to another monitor, okay? And then inside you can have your workspaces. Well, in top, it's not the case, okay? In top, we don't have two entities, one called desktop and one called workspaces. We have something called pages, and the pages, okay, it's an entity, it's a thing that by definition is multi-monitor. So take a look at this. Let's say I got another chart, okay, and another chart, right? So let's say, for example, I go ahead and I float this chart. So the moment I float it, okay, this chart is not inside the application. If I float the other chart, that chart is not inside the application. Even the main window, if I restore it down, so you get the proper visual. So now notice how I got one chart here, another chart there, okay, and I'm just gonna position it, randomly on the screen, so you have a clear visual that I'm working here with 3 independent windows, okay. So you have the platform itself, okay, right here, and then I have this chart on the left, this chart on the right. Now notice how those 2 charts, they are giving me the option to dock and dock, where the application window is not giving me any option to dock, meaning that this is the application window running, while my 2 charts are external from the application. They are floating. If I dock them back, they come back inside. If I dock, they come back inside. And now if I maximize my application window, it's all in here. So why am I doing this little movement of windows, which is quite, self-explanatory, or maybe obvious, maybe even too simple? The reason why is because, I want you to understand that even if everything you are using when you trade is inside your main application window, like I have it now, or if I float things around and I bring it to other monitors, okay, so now I'm moving this to another monitor. As you can see, you don't see my other monitor, but now that chart is in another monitor. Even if I had 25 different monitors and I have things in 25 different monitors, the moment I save my page, okay, the moment I save my page, all of it is saved. And if I was to close top and I was to reopen top, every one of the positionings of those various windows that I had outside the main application window, all of it would go back to the place where I left it the same time I closed, the last time I closed the platform. So in other words, the concept of a page is multi-monitor by definition. You don't have one page per monitor, and you cannot have multiple pages running at the same time either, because one page is multi-monitor. So the moment you have a page open, everything is, visible, and you can have it positioned wherever you want within the application window, or you can dock it like I'm doing now. Okay, you click on the button dock and everything goes back inside. Okay, so it's way more intuitive. It's much more, while it's running on Windows, it's much more, if you wish, like a Mac application will work, if you wish. It's more intuitive. But of course, now if you're coming from TradeStation, you may get confused until you get used to it. Okay, and then you will appreciate it so much. But at first, you may have this tendency that you want to have multiple tops in multiple monitors. And again, that would be kind of a little bit of a, if I can say it like that, if you don't mind, it's a little bit of an old school type of way on how to develop software, which is, how it is with TradeStation, given the fact that TradeStation is a platform that exists for a long time now. Nothing wrong about it, but again, in modern times, you could have a technology that allows you to be a bit more intuitive with the placement of the windows. Okay. Fernando, that's awesome. That is why I liked in other platforms. Yeah, great. If you save the page, does it create a new tab at the bottom? No, it doesn't create a new tab because, again, a page is multi-monitor. If you had a tab, it means that applies to your monitor, only to your monitor, not to the multi-monitor environment. So again, workspaces with TradeStation are multiple tabs and they only show in one monitor. The page is multi-monitor, so having tabs does not make sense. Now, on the other hand, you may see here, I got tabs, okay, but those tabs are not pages. Those tabs are multiple charts within the real estate space of a chart, okay? Which this is something that we'll need to discuss when we talk about charts, because there are many things about charts which are really, really cool that also are very useful when it comes to saving space on the screen. Maybe you are traveling, you're using a laptop and you have limited space, but you want to have a lot of data on the screen. You got many things. I'll just flash a couple of things just so you know what I'm talking about. So for example, those are tabs that represent charts. So I can go from chart to chart, okay? And notice how I'm going from one chart, from one tab to the other one, okay? It's different charts, but they are in the same chart window, okay? And now even, let's say I want to monitor the markets. So you can turn on the auto rotate. And now, my hands are not on the keyboard, as you can see, right? And notice how the windows keep rotating. So you can maybe watch markets or something like that. Maybe in your computer, one of the monitors is just to watch what's going on overall in the markets. And instead of having many small charts, maybe you want to have one big chart and it keeps rotating. So you get to see gold, the dollar index, the crude oil, S&P, and it keeps rotating, So again, just giving you ideas. But this has nothing to do with page. Okay, this is a chart functionality that when we talk about charts, we'll have to talk about this. Right now, I'm talking about the platform. And by the way, you may be an options trader there are options traders that don't use charts, okay? It's not my favorite way to trade options, but maybe your bread and butter on how to trade options is an option chain. And all you do is to have multiple option chains in multiple monitors and you take your decisions based on what you see. You don't need charts, but still those multiple options chains can be floated. You can take them to another monitor, as you can see that I'm doing now halfway, okay? You can, bring them back by docking that window inside the main application window. And again, you can have these across multi-monitors. And when you save, it's a page, okay? So, yeah, again, new concept to some of you, very intuitive. Sometimes, to be honest, to be very intuitive is counterintuitive because some softwares that are a bit older, they are less intuitive, but then you got used to it. So then you need to learn a new approach, and then it's not as intuitive. But you will see when you get used to it, it gives you a lot of functionality, a lot of flexibility. Because also, here's another thing which is very cool. So if I get a chart or let's say a risk graph, just to vary the type of windows. So let's say you have a risk graph and you float it. Okay, so on Windows, okay, if I bring in, just give me 1 second. So I will bring in a keyboard on the screen so you see what I mean. So here is a keyboard, okay? So on Windows, you have the Windows key, right? And apart from the Windows key, you also have the Alt key, right? So two combinations I personally love. And again, I am I love shortcuts on the keyboard, okay? So I hate to move my hand away from the keyboard and go find a mouse. I really dislike that, but that's just a preference. Maybe you're different than me. Also, my keyboard, even when I use a desktop application, a desktop machine, my keyboard is a Lenovo keyboard. So I use the little dot, okay, the track point, meaning that, I'm using the mouse without moving the hands away from the keyboard. And this, if you never use this type of keyboards, it's quite difficult at first, but when you get used to it, that's it. You're hooked for the rest of your life. You will never move your hand to move a mouse on the side. Okay. Again, this is just me. This has nothing to do with trading well or not, or using platform efficiently or not. I'm just saying I love to use shortcuts on the keyboard at all levels, right? So there are two key combinations which are very powerful, okay, which are to use the Windows key plus the tab, okay, which is, I guess you're all with me with the tab, right? And then the other combination, which is very cool, is the Alt, okay, plus the tab, okay. So this allows you to switch from one running application to another running application without having to go grab the mouse and go find the Windows taskbar on the bottom part of the screen and just click on whatever application you want to use. For example, let's say you're using Microsoft Outlook and you're using Google Chrome and you want to switch from Microsoft Outlook to Google Chrome. So one basic way to do it is use the mouse and just go click on whatever application you want. Another more interesting, to me, way on how to do it faster is to just do Alt Tab. And I cannot show you because it shows on my other monitor, which I'm not sharing at the moment. But when you do Alt Tab, you can try for yourself. It will go from one application to the other one, to the other one, to the other one. So why is that cool? Well, this is cool. Let me close the keyboard here. So this is cool because the moment you dock, okay, the moment your applications are inside the main application window, then the Alt Tab will basically do nothing when it comes to top, functionality. But the moment you float those applications, okay, so now when you do Alt Tab, you are basically now going from one chart to the other, from one chart to the risk graph, from one risk graph to the option chain. So from the option chain to the matrix. So whatever applications you have open, if you float them, you can then alternate from one application to the other one, just by staying on the keyboard. So that makes you very fast. Okay, that makes you very fast. And when again, it's personal preference. I love it like that. That's why you may feel I'm a bit passionate about sharing this with you. Again, it doesn't need to be like that in your case at all, and it doesn't mean absolutely not. It means that you would be doing it wrong. It's absolutely fine to use the mouse. But again, if you appreciate the keyboard, so that's something that you're gonna love so much because it makes you so fast. Okay. Okay, Joe. So you're talking about saving the page. Okay, so this is something critical we need to talk about because there are a couple of things that you need to know about saving the page. I'm gonna explain that right now. Siderman is there a recommended number of monitors for using top most efficiently? That's very difficult to say, Siderman. It's really personal preference, really personal preference. I work very well with two monitors. My setup is super simple, and one of the reasons why I don't like to make it complex is because I normally travel a lot. I mean, since the pandemic, obviously, no, obviously not. But normally I travel a lot. I live in Asia. My family is in Europe, etc. So, so there are many times where I find myself trading with my laptop, and that day I only have one computer screen, and I don't want to be used to 10 monitors at home. And then when I travel, I feel like I cannot trade. I don't want to ever get that feeling, and therefore I force myself to keep my setup at home to be very simplistic. Now, having said that, my monitors are of a pretty high resolution. So even my laptop is 4K, so I can fit a lot of data on the screen. And my laptop is 15-inch, which is these days a large laptop. Okay, even though it's very thin and very light, it's a ThinkPad. How do you call it? The X1 Extreme, and therefore it's pretty high power, pretty light. The screen is large. The screen is using the same technology you have on the screen of a phone. So you got photographic quality. It's 4K, and I can fit so much stuff in there. So that serves me very well. But some other traders that really and also it may be required especially if you are trading extremely short-term time frames and you don't want to miss trades and so on. So then having multiple monitors, like 4, 6, 8 monitors. So this could make a difference for you depending on the strategies that you run. Okay. So again, very personal. I would say there is no right or wrong on this. Okay. Maka, if you change the instrument symbol, does it change on all tabs? Well, very good as well, because this depends on the grouping. Okay, how do you have it, okay, in here, and every one of your tabs, because now you are referring to the charts. So if you look at my tabs, okay, let me start from the first one on the left, which is SPY8. Okay, notice that I got, for that tab, the grouping is blue. If I switch to the next one, the grouping is blue. If I go for the next one, the grouping is blue. Next one, the grouping is blue. Next one is blue. Not next one, it's blue. And the next one, which is the SPY 3-day, the grouping is blue. In other words, if I change the symbol, for example, Facebook, no matter the chart I change, when I go back to all the way to the left, now I'm back to the chart, which is FB8, Facebook 8 minutes, it's changed to Facebook. Why? Because they were all blue. Now, if I change that to not grouped for the 8-minute time frame, and the other ones are blue, 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 and I go back to the S&P, so you can see very clearly how all the tabs show S&P and the one on the left show Facebook. Why? Because I ungrouped Facebook. While everything is blue, the one on the left, I left it ungrouped instead of blue. If I make it blue, so then all is connected. Is that making sense? And again, this is a functionality related to charts. I mean, you can group different features. You can group the chart with with the option chain. You can group the charts with the matrix. So you can group different things in different ways. We'll talk about grouping. Okay, you can group different things in different ways. But what we are discussing now is not the chart, the grouping. We're discussing the page. Okay, we're discussing the page, which is kind of like the widest type of entity, because everything inside top lives inside of the page, and the page is multi-monitor by definition, allowing you to float or dock whatever is it that you want to have docked or floating. Okay, and maybe you want to have something on the same monitor. For example, it's very normal for me to use the spread select, and I want to use it on the same monitor. Okay, but if I maximize it, I still have the frame of the main application window around it. So it's very common for me to float it so I can maximize it on the same computer screen, and now I have a visual that only shows me that window. That's very convenient, for example, in a laptop, for example. And also very convenient because now if I want to go back to top, okay, so I'm not using my mouse. This is my right hand, okay, and with my left hand on the keyboard, I'm doing Alt-Tab, and automatically I got top without having to reach the mouse. Okay, so again, the beauty of floating, even if you are only using one monitor, it's also very, very useful. And remember, everything that is floated, it's part of the same page, no matter if it is in the same monitor or not. So I kind of repeated myself a bit using different words, because depending on the platform you use, the use of the concept of the monitor and the real estate on your displays and so on may be used differently depending on the platforms, especially in the case of TradeStation, where I know potentially many of you are using TradeStation in our community. So I just wanted to make sure the concept of page is understood. Okay, and if that is understood, please confirm that to me with a quick message, because now I want to talk about how to use it. For example, how to save, how can the page serve you, how can you use the pages to not to lose data, all of those things. Okay, let me read your comments as well as please you give me an answer to the question when it comes to everybody with me on what is a page. Life is change. You're right, Siderman, absolutely. Maka, you are the shortcut king as well. Love it. How are you, WHS? I only have 5 computers with 2 or 3 screens each. That's very good. That's very, very good. It's indeed, a very, very small setup. Very good. Ahmed, you're good. You want to never open TradeStation again? Well, Joe, in one hand, I get where you're going or where you're coming from. In the other hand, I will say that TradeStation has many features that we don't have in top. For example, TradeStation is programmable, right? So again, I think that being open to having multiple tools is also a way to have a little bit of a backup plan for yourself. Ahmed, if you don't mind me to share, Ahmed got a technical problem, in the past few days with top, and to be honest, I was quite shocked on the nature of the problem. In the end, it's fixed. But what if that day you need to trade, you need to manage a trade, and you have a technical problem, right? So it's a good thing that you have a backup plan, and having TradeStation ready could be one way for you maybe to close a trade or enter a trade or enter a hedge that you need to enter if the key platform or the main platform of your choice has a problem. So again, I think it's good as traders to always think of diversification in many ways. And by the way, talking about the ones of you using top for TradeStation, know that you could use top and TradeStation at the same time. Okay, so you could turn on TradeStation, log in TradeStation, and then log in top, and then top and TradeStation will run at the same time. And then you can even close TradeStation afterwards, and top will continue working. Okay, or you don't launch TradeStation, you launch top, right? And we are working on it. And then later on, you're like, you know what? I need to use TradeStation now. So you just turn on TradeStation and it will launch, and then you have top and TradeStation running at the same time too. So it's fine. It's not a problem. Okay. Now, if you want to do this with multiple computers, not multiple monitors, then you cannot. Okay, because the data line, which is if you're using top for TradeStation, the data line, okay, which is the the technical component that sends market data to top and receive instructions, orders from TradeStation, from top to TradeStation, so you can execute that. Technical, let's call it a bridge, if you wish. So technically, it's called an API. So that TradeStation calls it a data line. So that data line, can only run in one computer at the same time. Now, little tip. Okay, and this, I've seen clients to have problems with that and clients to not to have problems with that. But the little tip is that you could call TradeStation, and normally they will be kind enough to give you access to a second username and a password at no cost, so you can log in to your same account from two different computers. And in this case, maybe you have your laptop and you have a desktop, and you want to have TradeStation be running on both, looking at the same account. So then you will need to use two different usernames and passwords because it's two different machines. Okay. But again, TradeStation is often kind enough with the clients. I cannot guarantee that because maybe they change their policies, or maybe you just happen to be on the phone with someone which is a bit less kind than other sales representative, because everyone may have a different day. Some people may have a good day, some people may have a less good day, if you know what I mean. But in most cases, TradeStation, based on what I've seen, they will be open to grant you access to a second username at no cost. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Fernando understood. Maca, all clear. Siderman, I understand. Very nice way to do it. Ahmed, thank you so much for your time spent with me trying to fix the mechanical. Oh, it was my pleasure, Ahmed. I really feel terrible that that actually was a problem. Okay, so Siderman, right now I have to launch TradeStation first before top, or when I open top, I don't have AutoClimate or AutoUFOs. Yes, this is true. You are absolutely correct, Mark. Because what happens is that when you launch TradeStation, if you happen to be subscribed to AutoUFOs and AutoClimate in TradeStation, those applications are delivered by the TradeStation App Store. And because it's delivered from the App Store, it requires the user to be subscribed. So if you were to log in top first, top will not query TradeStation if you are subscribed on the TradeStation App Store. And one of the reasons that we don't do that is because first, AutoUFOs is built in top, so you don't need to. But second, because there is no API bridge. TradeStation has not built that. There is no API bridge that allows us from top connect not only with TradeStation, but connects with the TradeStation App Store to consult if that username and password is actually subscribed or not. We cannot do that. There is no way to do that. So because there is no way to do that, if you log in top, that will enable market data from TradeStation via the data line, but it will not confirm if you are a subscriber of the App Store or not. So therefore, then if you open TradeStation, TradeStation will work, but some of the apps will not be running. So the best sequence then, if you plan to use TradeStation on top at the same time, then the right sequence to make sure that TradeStation validates that you are a subscriber of the App Store would be log in TradeStation first, and then only then log in top. So then you get connected to TradeStation and top both with no restrictions because you did an independent login with TradeStation before launching top. Okay, so yeah, some details which in the end of the day they make a difference as a user, so you know how to be efficient with the tools. Anyway, so everybody now knows what is a page. Okay, everybody now knows what is a page. So now, if I was to bring, let me do that. If I was to bring a file explorer on Windows, and I was to go to a classical, I'm doing that on my other computer screen. Okay, so here we go. I'm just bringing in, okay, here we go. Okay, right there. So this is the documents folder on my computer. Okay, and as you can see here, okay, as you can see here, there are two folders: TRADDICTIV Options Planner for QC, TRADDICTIV Options Planner for TradeStation, because I got both. And when you enter one of them, you're gonna have a collection of files. Okay, well, the files with the extension DTP, those DTP files, those are your page files. In other words, when you are working with top and you save that page, right? So for example, I click save page right here, and now it's just saved. So when I click the page, okay, the page I am using, you can see the name here on the top, by the way, options with options. That's the name of my page, okay? And the moment you save it, it's equivalent, and I'm just gonna, I mean, maybe I don't need to go that simple and that basic when it comes to the use of a computer, but it's kind of like, it's, everybody will understand this is like a Word document that you type on a page and you save the Word document, and you have that document, which is a file saved in certain folder on your computer. Well, it's the same thing. I just updated that, in this case, options with options.dtp file. That's what I've just done. Notice that is 11:42 p.m. on my side of the world. If I go back to top, now it's 11:43. So if I click save and I go back to the file explorer, so instead of 11:42, right? The moment I click save, 1, 2, 3, save, and now I go back, you're gonna see 11:43. Why? Because I just saved that file, right? 1 minute later. So this is like a Word document. This is where everything is being saved. This is your page. Okay. Now, when you save, what is being saved? Everything. Everything. Okay. So in other words, if you selected charts, you had groupings, you had predefined, like for example, if you right click on any of those buttons, you can predefine the color of your lines, the thickness, if you right click on the text, actually with the text is different. You cannot right click, but you can click on the text, and then here you can save as a default, the font or the size. So whatever you do, when you save the page, is saved. In other words, if you were to pass that page to someone else, all of that would be saved for that person. Okay, so really it's a very simple way to save your platform in case the whole thing crashes, a computer has been stolen. Okay, no problem. You get from your backup, you get that file, and you're back in business because all of it was saved in there. It's just a very simple way. Okay, now there are certain things that will be saved, but if you, let's say you take your page file to another computer, there are certain things that will need to be kind of refreshed. Let me explain what I mean. For example, on my computer, if I open a chart, the background is white. UFOs are loaded by default. If you install top from scratch and you do that, you open a chart, and pretty positive is not going to be like you. Even if you emailed us and we send you the options with options page, when you open a new chart, it may not show us a white background chart. It may show us a black color or whatever other settings that you have set up yourself. So why is that? Well, because apart from the page, in the platform, there is also something called the factory settings. So if I look at the format of, in this case, my chart, okay? So you can see that that chart has a series of parameters for its format. For example, how many bars we load, how much space, on the right you're gonna leave, things like that, okay? So this, and every application is different, okay? So if you go to other applications, the option chain, so every applications are different, and some applications don't have factory settings. The chart is probably the one application that have the most things to customize, because again, the chart, I mean, I don't know how to say it, the chart is the chart, right? So it's where different traders may have different indicators. Again, there is a lot of customization in the chart. It's one of the key tools for trades, right? So in other words, if I right click, notice that there is templates. You will find that in multiple applications inside top. And then here you have your factory defaults that you could change if you save whatever you got now as a default. So example, if I go back to my format, okay, and I'm using a chart as an example for you to understand this concept, the difference between the page and the factory defaults, okay? Because I say when you save the page, everything is saved, and it's true, but not the factory defaults, because it's kind of like it's a higher level in the hierarchy, if you wish, okay? So for example, let's say I'm gonna do my chart background to be black, right? So if I do my chart background to be black, and now I make this to be template, save as default, just did, and now I close the chart, and now I open a chart, so my chart by default is black. Why? Because I save it as a default. If I want to go back to make that chart to be white color, so I will go back to the format, and then instead of black, I would select white, click OK, and then I can go back to now template and save it as a default. And I can also save it with different names, okay? So chart with the white background, okay? Chart with AutoUFOs, chart without whatever. So you can also play with that, okay? But again, I'm just going simple here with the factory defaults. So I am overwriting the factory defaults to be that, a white background chart with the UFO by default, okay? So in other words, if I send you my page file, you don't get my factory default. So you would get those charts exactly the same as me, whatever other windows I may have, such as, for example, I got the matrix here in the background. So whatever I have, you'll get it all exactly the same, but you wouldn't have the factory defaults. So the page saves everything, but not the factory defaults, because it's a higher level of the hierarchy, okay? But now what can you do? Well, very simple. If someone ever sends you a page and you want everything to be like that page for you, then you just right click, you go to template, and you save as default. And now you took whatever was in the page and you also made it your factory settings, okay? So again, just giving you that extra detail, which is especially important when we talk about charts, okay? So one more time, summary. The page is the whole thing. It saves everything. Thickness of the lines, indicators on the charts, settings, windows, locations in different monitors or the same monitors, floated or dock. It saves the whole thing, okay? If you send that one file to someone, that person opens that file and everything will be there. Exactly the same, right? Now, by the way, exactly the same means exactly the same, meaning same resolution and everything. So if I send you my page, the one I use in my 4K monitor, but your monitor is 1K, then you'll have everything, but you're going to have to reorganize the windows and move them around so they fit well, because the page also saves the resolution, right? So it's, it saves everything, okay? So the one thing is not saved is the factory defaults, okay? Which They are mostly important in the charts. And you can also find factory defaults when you go to studies, for example. So if you go to Elliott waves, which in this case I have, so often in many of those indicators, you will also have save as a default, factory settings. So again, if you want to have the factory settings overwritten by whatever is on the page, so you need to go to that particular tool, in this case, an indicator, and click save as default, because one last time, the factory defaults are a higher level of hierarchy and they are not in the page. Okay, cool. So now I believe you're with me. I'm really taking it, slow and easy. So this is what I understood is, as I said, it's probably the most boring of all the sessions that we'll do together, because talking about pages is not that interesting, but at the same time, it will really help you to master the use of the platform as we add, more further tips on how to use the platform efficiently. And most importantly, as you're about to see now, also it will help you to not to lose data, which that is priceless, my friends. Okay, so thank you, Siderman. Very good. Jeff, how much space does it take up in a normal desktop, including TOS and TradingView running at the same time? How much space? In short, do I need to upgrade my desktop with this program included? When you mean space, you mean on the hard drive? If it's the hard drive or the memory, extremely little. Okay, the beauty of top is that it's a very efficient application. Okay, so if I bring a task manager window, just give me 1 second here, guys. Okay, just give me 1 second because I need to load it on my other computer screen and I want to find a top. Okay, so look, if you look at top, it's right there. Fair enough, the market is closed, right? So there is no much data processing, but you can see how much it's using. You can also see how much it's using from the memory. And I got many charts open. Okay, 120 megabytes. Computers these days got gigabytes. So this is thousands of times less than the memory you have on your computer. So again, this is very efficient. Okay, and it's very efficient. And on the hard drive it's nothing. If I go back to this, look at the size of the desktop file, 37 kilobytes. It's not even megabytes, it's kilobytes. It's a tiny file, and everything is saved in there. And of course, the whole application utilizes more, but it's still very little. The installation file of top, I think it's 20 megabytes. So again, it's designed to be optimal. It's not like some of the platforms out there. I mean, we are lucky in this sense. Some of the platforms available out there, they are the product of keep patching things on top of things, because most of the platforms are provided by brokers and they have thousands of clients. So if there is an issue or they need a new functionality, they just need to release it. There is no time for optimization because thousands and thousands of clients will be waiting. In our case, we are not as large as a large broker. We are a technology company. We are not a broker. And in that sense, when we launch, releases or the platform itself, we do spend time on optimization before we do it. Okay, so everything takes very little, Jeff. This is a very good question. Very good. And by the way, Jeff, I see you are connected on YouTube. I believe you should be connected, or you could be connected on the private room, I believe. Just a little tip for you. And if you don't know how to do that, send us an email, okay? Now, going back to the pages. So if you do Control S or just click, okay? So that file is overwritten, which in my case, I'm using the options with options, okay? So that's what's gonna happen, okay? And that's it, okay? It doesn't get more complex than that, okay? But here's what I wanna show you. Take a look at what happened if I close top without saving, okay? I closed top without saving. I just closed the application, okay? And now I'm going to re-log in. By the way, my login window is on my other monitor, so you don't see it, but now I'm typing username and password, and now I'm logging in. So top is gonna show on my screen in a moment. Here we go, it's now loading, okay? So 1, 2, and 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, here we go. So here's top, Okay, so now notice what just happened. First of all, the desktop name is gone. Now, having said that, everything I had is exactly the same. Okay, let's pretend I go ahead and I type we are learning on how to use pages. Okay, and I put that text in here, and without saving I close the platform. Okay, and I go back and I relaunch top. So again, I'm going to log in just like before using my other computer screen. Okay, so 1, 2, and I would say 3. Here we go. Okay, that's it. We have it. So notice what just happened. What we wrote is still there, and I didn't save it. Okay, so what is this telling you? So this is telling you that top is going to save whatever you got when you exit, no matter if you save or you don't. Okay, so this is very helpful to not to lose data. Okay, very, very helpful. Now, where is it saved? Because it doesn't, it doesn't show the name of the page. So where is it saved? Okay, and here's a concept which is critical for you to understand. Inside top, okay, I just close my file explorer by mistake. So let me bring it back here. So inside top, there is one page called default. The default page, it's saved and overwritten automatically every time you exit the platform. So the normal thing is that you guys work on the default. That's the normal thing. Okay, that way it's always being saved. And therefore, the name of your pages, it's kind of like your backup plan. Meaning that, let's say, I am working on my computer, and now, for example, in the position panel, I just took a trade with, and by the way, what I'm about to say is not correct, and I'll explain why in a moment. But let's say I took a trade on Facebook, and I want to document it. And I add Facebook to the positions, right? And now I want to make sure that this is part of my backup, not part of my desktop. Sorry, no, I made a mistake myself. Not part of my page, because if I close, even if I don't save, this will be saved. But what if I want this to be part of my backup, which is the file options with options? So then you will want to come in here and select save page as, and then I will want to overwrite options with options. Okay, and the moment I click yes, okay, this is now overwritten. Okay, and so now even if I was to remove it and close top, which, remember, when I close top, it will update the default page. So then I deleted it. If I close, it's gonna update the default page. So what does that mean? That if I open the default page, that will be gone because I deleted it before exiting. Well, guess what? In your options with options file, that is still gonna be there, because the options with options file, it's never saved unless you save it manually. In other words, everything is saved automatically using that default page that is created for you automatically, even if you don't create it yourself. And nothing is being saved in your other pages unless you save them manually. Okay, so this is important for you to understand, because this is going to make your life so easy, because basically the efficient use of top from a page point of view would be spend time to organize the platform the way you want to have it. The moment you have organized the platform the way you want to have it, you have the windows in the locations where you want in the monitor, the indicators loaded with your preferences, your calibration settings, whatever, you have it all the way you want it. So then what do? You go out there and you save as, and you select the name that you want, or you type whatever new name you want. Okay, so super page for I don't know, top traders. I'm just making this up. Okay, even though it's a powerful name. Okay, so you save that super page for top traders, and this page represents how you like the platform to be, right? And now in your everyday, you never save. You just exit, knowing that every time you exit, the default page is being updated. Notice is being updated now at 12 a.m., which is my time, which by the way is time to conclude the session. Okay, and therefore the next time you reopen top, you're gonna get what you had the last time you left top, and on the top of the platform you won't see the name of the page, and you don't need it, because again, the name of your pages are how you would like your platform to be, right? Is your customized settings. I mean, a moment ago I called it is like your backup of how you want the page to be. Okay, because your everyday use is the default page, unless you wanna be a bit more manual about it. Okay, because this is quite intuitive, but again, sometimes intuitive gets you confused, especially if you're coming from a platform like TradeStation where nothing saves unless you save manually. So maybe you are used to save manually and you actually like it. So then continue saving manually. Every time you're about to exit the platform, before you exit, make sure you save. So then your settings will be saved. Okay, and just make sure you select save as. Okay, because when you select save page, if you didn't select anything because it's default, then it will prompt which one to use. Okay, so in other words, no matter if you click on save page or save page as, it will be asking you which name you want to use for that page. Okay. Anyway, guys, as I said, today is, like talking about software, like, how to open and close the page. It's really that the one session where we are not talking about trading at all. As I said, it's probably the least interesting of all the sessions that we had, but it's important that you get this concept of the page and the different ways on how to use it, because it's going to make a very big difference in, when it comes to everything we're going to add. It would be problematic to start playing too much with the windows and not having control on where they're being saved, and what if I close that window by mistakes and I want to recover it, what do I do now? Okay, so let's say, for example, right now I close that chart and I'm like, oh my god, I just messed up. Why did I mess up? Because I got not only my chart but all the tabs, everything was organized, every tab was a different time frame. I cannot recover it. Okay, I cannot recover it from here. Okay, which is the name of the page I'm using right now? Default. How do I know? Because there is nothing. So how can I recover it? Then you open page and you go back to your options with options. Okay, and when you reopen your options with options, 1, 2, and 3, here we go. So you are back to where you left before, including the fact that the portfolio manager was open. And now guess what? I got my chart back. So that's why I was referring to utilizing the name of your pages as thinking like it's a backup plan, and in your everyday, never save, just close. Nothing, knowing that when you close, the default page is being saved automatically for you. So when you re-enter, it will bring top to where you were before, which is the default page. So my friends, this is what I got for today. How is it going? Hopefully, I mean, again, it was a very simple topic. On the other hand, in another hand, because it's very intuitive, and sometimes Windows is not that intuitive compared to, for example, platforms like Apple or Mac computers and so on. And again, I'm not getting into what is better, Mac, Windows. I don't want to get there, okay? Because we all have different preferences. But when it comes to intuition, I guess I would say that Mac is maybe a little bit ahead of Windows, or has been for many years. So this is quite intuitive, but it could be quite confusing if you are used to platforms that are more traditional. So hopefully this session helped you to clarify. I would now suggest that you play around a little bit with it to be fully confident and comfortable, and where your stuff is, right? So if you close a window by mistake and you're like, oh my God, where do I get my information back? Or if I close the platform by mistake and it's like, oh my God, I forgot to save. Well, you know where to get your data, you know where to get your notes, etc., etc. Okay. Fernando, the matrix in tops and the matrix in TradeStation is a totally, completely, absolutely different type of tool, because the matrix in TradeStation is a tool to place trades, where the matrix in top is a tool to research real-time market opportunities, similar to the scanner in TradeStation, even though I said similar because the scanner runs on your machine, where the matrix on top runs on the cloud. So the result of the scans are speed of the light, where with TradeStation, when you click scan, you have to wait minutes. So it's absolutely completely different, and we will have sessions to talk about that. Okay, today we surpassed the time, so I won't get into that. Plus, we will need a full 1 hour to talk about this. Okay, so we'll talk about that, but for sure we will. Okay, Joe, good start. Thanks for this. Thank you, my friend. So far is good. Great. Thanks for the clarification on pages. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Jose. Looking forward. Yes, same with me, guys. I am eager. Believe me, I am extremely eager to run, I don't know, like 2 months of top sessions together, and we're gonna be at a different level when the use of the platform. But in the same time, we will have limited time, and also learning takes practice. And so I think it's a good thing that on the Sundays we learn a few new things. During the weekdays you practice. On Wednesday, Thursday you see me again when we do the live sessions. By the way, on those live sessions, feel free to ask me questions about top if you have. Okay, we don't need to wait until Sunday if you have questions. And then on the Sundays, we go back to, hey, here's the F1 page, so let's go for the next component, let's dive deeper, and we're gonna master all of this. Okay, wonderful. Wayne, thanks for that, my friend. Thanks for that. And also Jeff, thanks for that. And everyone, thanks for that, my friends. So I will see you next time. You guys take care. Thanks for joining me today on the Sunday, and have a good end and rest of the weekend, everyone. Take care, my friends. Bye bye. See you soon.